Please join my Discord server. I love you. Thank you. Not much to do in Destiny right now, so why not make a shotgun, not tier list, but what is the best option for the kinetic slot and the energy slot? Since a couple more shotguns came out ever since Final Shape, I'm going to tell you guys, in my personal opinion, after using all of these shotguns, what I think is the best. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to start with the Matador 64 because this is the most playtime I have on any shotgun, even more than the conditional finality. I've been using this shotgun for quite some time now, ever since the pellet changes, and I have to say it's one of, if not my favorite shotgun in the entire game. It has opening shot and threat detector. You're going to see a lot of these shotguns have opening shot and threat detector because it's honestly one of, if not the best perk combos in the game. The rest always comes down to how consistent the shotgun feels and also the stats on the shotgun. Matador has very, very good stats. Does it have the best stats out of any shotgun on this list? I'm not 100% sure. I think they're all very close, hence why they're all on the list. But I will say it is one of, if not the most consistent shotgun in the entire game. It can even give conditional finality a run for its money. Before I talk more, the actual god roll, in my personal opinion, is opening shot, threat detector, accurized rounds, barrel shroud, and a handling masterwork, letting it sit at 63 handling with 75 range. 63 handling might not sound like a whole lot, but if you pair this together with threat detector, it's going to feel extremely fast, and you're not even going to notice that it only has 63 handling. I used to really knock on threat detector for a very long time, but ever since I realized how good it really was, I always suggest putting it on any shotgun that you can. There are other precision frames in the game in the energy slot, like the Compass Rose that we're going to talk about very shortly, but in my personal opinion, this feels the most consistent. It one-shots the most. It has a very, very clean looking model. There's going to be heavy Matador glaze in this video because I just love it that much. I've been using it for a very long time, and this is my actual roll that I have in game as well. And since we're on the topic of energy precision frame shotguns, I want to go to the Compass Rose. This actually just recently came out with Solstice, and a lot of people were asking, is this any good? Is it better than Matador? Is it the next Matador? And I'm going to let you guys know what I think about it. The Compass Rose is a little bit special now because it has a couple different god rolls you can go for. Not only does it have the traditional threat detector opening shot god roll, which I would probably suggest over anything else, it also has the unique slick draw opening shot god roll. This is interesting because I've always said how bad slick draw is, and I still to this day don't think it's the best perk in the entire game, especially on 99% of the weapons, but this is a rare instance where slick draw with opening shot can actually make the gun feel not that bad. The gun can also be enhanced, making slick draw a little bit better and opening shot a little bit better as well. Since slick draw gives you 100 handling, you can put all of your focus into range. Literally all. You can go rifled barrel, accurized rounds, range masterwork, sitting at 92 range on this thing with opening shot. You don't actually need 92 range. You could reduce it a little bit more. But the fact is, you can have 100 handling with very high range. The only problem is your target acquisition is not going to be perfect with slick draw. It's kind of hit or miss, hence why I never really suggest using it, and I would suggest still using threat detector. If you do go with threat detector, the god roll is going to be very similar to the Matador with barrel shroud, accurized rounds, threat detector, opening shot, and a handling masterwork, but the difference being you have enhanced perks here. As you notice though, the stats are a little bit worse. It has a little bit less range and around 8 less handling. Honestly, the handling is not as big of a deal as I thought because again, threat detector is really carrying this gun when you get close to people. But nonetheless, Matador technically still has better stats, and the one problem I have with this gun, I still cannot find out why, is the hit registration is just not as good as the Matador. You don't one-shot as much with the Compass as you do with the Matador, and I don't know why. Even though it's in the exact same family, the same exact frame, everything is almost identical, but it just doesn't feel as good. I don't know why, and I will die on that hill. I genuinely don't think it's as good as the Matador. So that's my personal opinion. I will throw in the honorable mention, Found Verdict. I'm not going to talk about this much at all. I think it's solid, but Matador and Compass Rose are better. Honestly, I'd just stay away from the Found Verdict just because precision frames are straight up better. Now we have the kinetic slots. These are pretty crazy. All three of these shotguns, in my opinion, are S tier. They're insane, but a few of them have their differences. First, we'll talk about the Fractus. This is an old school shotgun. We've had it for a very long time. The main problem is you can't really get it anymore unless you get super, super lucky. It's almost impossible to get a god roll, hence why people don't really talk about it anymore. It has a very, very rare quick draw opening shot god roll. This is big news. And honestly, this is the god roll to be going for, if you can get one, of course. The thing with quick draw compared to slick draw is quick draw gives you very high handling to swap to your weapon, but once you actually have the weapon in your hands, you lose all of your handling and go back to the 41 handling that you originally had. Still though, it'll let you swap very quickly, and that's what mainly matters the most. Even though the gun will feel like crap in your hands afterwards, it's still a very, very good shotgun perk. In my personal opinion, I know this is going to sound crazy, is I would still go for max handling even though I'm using quick draw, because I don't like scoping in slowly with the shotgun. If you don't care about all that, you could go for something a little bit different. You could go for like corkscrew rifling and a ranged masterwork. Sitting at 87 range plus opening shot will put you at 100 range for this thing. It's a very good shotgun, insane if you can get a god roll, but again, unfortunately, it is almost impossible to get, hence why I don't really suggest going for it. But if you do manage to have this god roll, I would highly suggest trying it out because you're going to like it a lot. Next on the list, we have the Someday. This is an awesome shotgun, just came out with final shape, and I was pleasantly surprised by the god roll on this thing. Again, it's going to be the threat detector opening shot roll, but the twist on this is you can actually craft this weapon. So that means it's also enhanceable. How do the stats look like? Is it close to the Matador? Well, let's find out. Enhanced opening shot, enhanced threat detector, enhanced accurized rounds, barrel shroud, and a handling masterwork lets this thing sit at 60 handling. On top of the fact that it has 80 range, that's 5 more than the Matador. Yeah, it has 3 less handling than the Matador, but that's not that big of a deal. This thing is a stat monster. And unlike the Compass Rose, this shotgun actually feels like it one-shots a lot of the time, which is great. That is really, really important with a shotgun. Unlike the other origin traits on other weapons, this one's actually not completely useless. Final blows with this weapon grants a small amount of super energy. Equipping multiple weapons from the Pale Heart increases this effect. Again, it's not completely useless, but it's not gonna be that big of a deal when it comes to using it on a shotgun. If you do not have the conditional finality, I would suggest using this shotgun. If you do not have the this and you want to use a legendary shotgun in the kinetic slot, this is your best bet, and honestly probably the easiest because you can craft the perfect god roll for you. You can use elemental capacitor on an arc super and gain crazy handling. So it's actually 100 handling and 100 range at all times. That is insane for a shotgun, for a precision frame shotgun at that. So it's the best frame in the entire game. There was a reason why I was hyping this shotgun up when it first came out. I think it's better than the Matador, but it's not in the correct slot because it is going up against one of, if not the best shotgun in the game currently, at least in terms of exotics, the conditional finality. If you were not aware, the conditional finality actually received a nerf recently. It removed 15 handling off of it. It used to be at 95, now it's at 80, but as you could tell, 80 handling is still extremely strong, making the gun still very, very good. The one thing with conditional recently, though, is there's been a bunch of ammo changes to trials, and now you only spawn in with 1 bullet, and since you only have that 1 bullet when you spawn in, and you have to run across the map for more ammo, you're only really starting with the solar shot, which is not as good as the stasis shot. It was technically kind of indirectly nerfing the gun, if that makes sense, because the solar shot is genuinely not that great. It's a very, very bad spread. It has no range at all, and for some reason, the stasis shot just snipes people. If you dislike the solar shot and you don't like running for ammo, honestly, the Someday could be a better option, but for most of the time, I would still suggest using the conditional just because it's a straight up god roll exotic. You don't have to do anything weird. All you got to do is just get it. So if I have to rank all of these shotguns in order, not based on what slot it's in, but just straight up which one's the best, I would put conditional finality at first. Still, I think it's the shotgun king. The Someday second. I do think it's actually better than the Matador. It's just in the wrong slots. Matador third, Fractithist fourth, Compass Rose fifth. That's my honest opinion. That's my top 5 shotguns in the game right now. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.